Americans are being told that AI will make their lives better. So far, most just aren't buying it. And if this hits home and you are afraid of AI, make sure that you do sign up for my free newsletter. It'll help you out. SplashofAI.com. Here's the thing about artificial intelligence. It's not just for tech people. It's for anyone who wants to save money, save time, and stop feeling left behind. I'm Kim Commando. Every Thursday, I send out Splash of AI. It's my new free newsletter that shows you exactly how real people are using AI to solve real problems. Cut a monthly bill, write a letter you've been dreading, plan a trip in minutes instead of hours, how to make sure your insurance does not get denied. This is the stuff that's working right now. I test it all myself. I skip the fluff and I explain everything in plain English because that's what I've done for almost 30 years. It's free, it's every Thursday, and it's the one email you'll actually look forward to opening. So go to splashofai.com right now and sign up while you're thinking about it. That's splashofai.com. It's totally free. AI is changing everything and anything you know, and I want to make sure that you're ready for all the changes. And my free newsletter will help you out. Splashofai.com is how you sign up. Splashofai.com.
Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome into Talkback here on your Wednesday. I'm Al Quartermont, along with Stephen Maxwell. Had meant to play a soundbite starting out, so let me do that. Take a listen.
I just want to also add one other thing. Thomas Massie tonight in his concession speech said something despicable, anti-Semitic, nasty, gutter politics, right at the end. What a way to go out. He said, I would have called Ed Galrein, but I had to find him in Tel Aviv. There was an undercurrent of anti-Semitism in this race on the Massie side. There's been an undercurrent of it in his career, unfortunately, and it really came out in an ugly way tonight. And I think it needs to be stated, acknowledged, and condemned because it was pretty despicable.
All right. So the big news of the night was the fact that you had the primary races in Kentucky for Congress, and Thomas Massie, who has positioned himself as a bit of an opposer to President Trump, was solidly defeated in that primary by a gentleman named Ed Galrein. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, yeah, Ed Galrein. And he is done. So another incumbent going down. We saw Bill Cassidy go down on Saturday. And now Cassidy is, he's going, he's the cloak is off, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
What else did he do?
So yesterday he voted along with 3 other Republicans and all the Democrats to basically vote for a resolution that opposes any more funding for the war in Iran. Yeah. And then he also, I don't know if you heard, Louisiana Radio Network was talking about the fact that he's no longer supporting the ballroom project that President Trump is doing because he can't justify spending $1 billion on it. That is a bit duplicitous on his part to state it that way. Shocker. Oops, I had it in my grok. So I typed in, is it going to cost tax? Because that's the way that Cassidy phrased it. He said, is it going to cost taxpayers $1 billion for the new ballroom? So just so you know, the ballroom construction has been privately funded. There was a proposal that came through the Senate for up to $1 billion in taxpayer money that would be for related security upgrades. And we know that security was an issue at the White House press corps dinner a few weeks ago when there was another assassination attempt. But at this point, there has been no taxpayer money going into that, as the president has described it as a gift to the U.S. for future presidents and the country. Senate Republicans had proposed $1 billion in broader spending as part of the security improvements tied to the East Wing project, including above and below ground features, Secret Service upgrades, etc. Critics have argued that is indirectly subsidizing the ballroom, especially since the project had ballooned in scope and cost. But around May 17th, the Senate parliamentarian struck down the inclusion of the security funding in the bill, blocking its use of taxpayer dollars via a procedural vehicle. Democrats oppose it. Some Republicans were wary due to the optics and the cost. So you didn't hear Cassidy voicing of that when he was running on Trump's coattails to try to win the primary. Politics is amazing, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I could have plenty of things to criticize for a million politicians, I'm sure. But one thing I don't really mind is spending some money on improving the infrastructure. I don't think it's a big deal if they want to build a ballroom that's even donated by private industry.
Yeah.
I know there could be some other concerns that go with that, some might say, but also, like, they're talking about building the arch.
Yeah.
I think it would be fine. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of putting his mark on the White House and the country. I mean, what's his background? Real estate, building. So it just kind of makes sense. If he did like a big golden statue of himself in the middle of, the ballroom, that'd be kind of weird. Wouldn't surprise me. That'd be kind of weird, but I don't think there's any problem with it. So, yeah. I mean, we spend money on a lot dumber stuff in America.
True. So I know that Cassidy also did an interview with Law Politics. David Jacobs asked him if he would consider running for Congress next year under the new map of the legislature or running for governor. Cassidy said, absolutely not. I've got 7 months to be the best senator I can possibly be. He says come January 3rd, his future will be outside the world of politics. Do you know Cassidy's 68?
Yeah, that's probably for the best. I mean,
I didn't realize he's that old.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that's old? He's just getting started. He could be president in 10 years.
True. Good point. All right. Well, coming up on the show today, 7:30, Superintendent Jeff Powell will be here from the Rapides Parish School District. We'll look forward to talking with him in our monthly visit. A lot going on this week. We got graduations galore. So last night I was driving down 28 West around 6 o'clock, and it was packed at the Coliseum. They had the Ash graduation, and didn't look like they could even accommodate everyone that was showing up. And there were cars still backed up. So huge crowd there last night. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the things happening over the summer and more coming up with Jeff Powell. But right now, we want to go to the phones. Have a feeling I know who this is. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, I was right. I was right. I figured you'd be chomping at the bit this morning.
Well, I was, and especially for the Massey question. Because we even have disagreements to that in my family. And, every one of Massey's disagreements with Trump, especially the ones on spending, I've agreed with him. I've agreed with Massey, and he's an idealist. He's an idealist. But we live in a world where Democrats are trying to totally change our way of government, and they vote in a block. So you can't unilaterally disarm. Because they vote in a block, we have to vote in a block. And so the arguments that he has within the Republican Party need to take place within the Republican Party. And then when you vote or move on a measure, you move it in as a unit. And, I'm reminded of what Bill Cassidy said in his concession speech. When you lose an election, you don't just cry and act like and say it was rigged. That's the same thing Massey did. In effect, he lost the election within the argument within the Republican caucus. So then when we go out, you don't go vote with the Democrats. That's what he did. For 2 years now, he's been voting with the Democrats. And so I don't know what he expects to accomplish, except to make himself look like a purist. And look, if that's what's his goal, great, but that's not how real politics is done. We have to realize that we're facing an opponent in the Democratic Party that wants to make new states, blow up the Supreme Court because they want to win, because they didn't like the election in 2024. So they're willing to do whatever they can do to fundamentally change. Barack Obama said it, fundamentally change the greatest nation the world has ever known and the greatest system for arriving at a wise course to move forward that the world has ever seen. And I just don't trust them. I don't think they're going to come up with something better. So if I were Massey, and I disagreed with my caucus, I would vociferously voice my opinions within the caucus. But then when we came out and voted, I would vote with my team, because that's how team sports work. And politics is a team sport. Anyways, thanks for letting me speak my piece. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I thought he would go off on Cassidy. I'm a little surprised.
Well, if it was a team sport, I don't even know if Donald Trump would exist. So. He would have taken over the Republican Party.
Fair point. So it was Ed Gowring who defeated Massey, and he had some interesting comments about all of that.
Simply put, what we'd say in Kentucky, because I'm pretty plain spoken, is he went to Washington, he burned every bridge, he burned a bridge factory, he ran off everybody that would build a bridge to the conservative Republicans. But again, the left-wing Democrats, the radical Democrats love him. And his votes against our party and our nation go farther back. Now, I want to add one other thing, Sean, for you and the viewers and our conservative Republican friends out there. Remember, it wasn't just President Trump. President Trump, nearly 78 million votes in the presidential race, the most ever for a Republican president. He won 31 states, including the swing states, and also 312 electoral votes. And here in this district, President Trump won by nearly 85%. He stood against us, but he liked to just single out President Trump. All that to say, it's a new day. These people deserve better, and I'm going to give it to them. Simply put,
he took a gamble, and politically, it didn't work. And when we say like politics is a team sport and per party, I get what he's saying. I understand that, and Democrats are very good at that. But you serve the people, and he may have thought that's what he was doing was best, and his people said no, it's not, and they want somebody else. So they didn't like the brand that he was given, so they replaced him. So that's part of the process.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens next in Texas. I think that vote is Saturday, that primary, with John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And yesterday, Paxton came out and said he would drop out of the race if the Senate passed the SAVE Act. But they're not rushing to do that. So kind of a interesting strategy, I thought, on his part. Kind of making it that, perhaps the main issue. Or one of the main issues. So, yeah, interesting times we're living in right now, for sure. All right, let's take another call. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hey, I hope you guys have listeners in Northern Kentucky, because I want to thank them for the 200-pound hemorrhoidectomy they gave this country last night. Does anybody know, who peed in that guy's Cheerios? I got so sick of these votes. Again, it was like voting no just for voting no's sake.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened with this guy, but this would be like tantamount to AOC voting repeatedly with Republicans. You're talking about a district that Trump won by 40 points, and he's going to go on these crusade votes and vote again. What do you expect? Not to mention the fact this Gowring. This guy's a Navy SEAL with 4 Bronze Stars and a 5th-generation dairy farmer. That's a stud, man. He deserves a chance regardless of Massey's record. So, anyway, great night for the country. Al, incidentally, do you realize what a workout machine your colleague is sitting across from you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He does CrossFit, or at least he used to.
He's a machine, man. Yeah. I witnessed it firsthand.
Oh, you did? Where was he working out?
You guys have a good day. I was in the gym Friday afternoon, and this dude is like throwing this barbell around over his head multiple times. Bald-headed guy with sunglasses on, and he walks over to me, and it was Steven. Didn't recognize him.
I was trying not to throw up the whole time.
All right. No, you did great. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So you were lifting with sunglasses on?
Well, I was running outside.
Oh, okay.
So you run outside, and then you come in and do some stuff. So. But most of my workout was outside.
Is that to get you more lathered up and loose because of running?
I can explain CrossFit. I don't know if you really care, though. It's like interval training. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so you run like a quarter mile, and then you do like 20 power cleans, and then you run another quarter mile and 20 power cleans. You go back and forth. So
okay.
Yeah,
the interval training, right?
Yeah.
supposed to burn more calories and.
Yeah, you burn more calories in a smaller amount of time. Yeah. That's the goal. This microphone's driving me nuts.
Don't stay.
Don't stay down.
All right. So like I said, we've got coming up on the show our superintendent. He is with us today, so we'll look forward to that. All right, I'm going to try to take this commercial. We're having
Dave's going to fire the commercial.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll be right back after this.
KSYL.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Facebook parent Meta is telling thousands of employees today that their job has been eliminated. Staff are being encouraged to work from home while the company cuts roughly 8,000 roles globally. Sources tell us this round of cuts is expected to hit Meta's engineering and product teams in particular. Checking on the markets, a recent jump in energy prices is adding to inflation fears, pushing investors to bet the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates. That weighed on stocks yesterday, with the Dow falling 322 points. On the agenda for investors today is NVIDIA's earnings results this afternoon. The chipmaker's financial report card will give us an update on the state of the artificial intelligence economy. Ahead of that, futures are seeing solid gains. And Live Golf is said to have begun to lay the groundwork for a potential bankruptcy filing if it fails to raise new funds. The Golf League is currently looking for money after its Saudi backers pulled their funding. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
If you're like me, your phone is always in your hand, or at least in your pocket, right? Well, now your library can be too. The Rapides Parish Library app is here and free for iPhone and Android users. Search books, place holds, renew items, even scan a barcode. See if the library has it before you buy it. You'll get event updates, account alerts, and directions to your nearest branch, all in one place. So go ahead, put the library in your pocket. Download the Rapides Parish Library app today.
Good morning. Our Wednesday starting out with cloudy skies, and we'll see thunderstorms developing later in the day. A chance of rain, about a 70% chance. Afternoon highs 81 degrees. Now tonight, rain showers early, and we'll see clearing later in the evening. Overnight lows will get down to 69 degrees. And then we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Again, a 70% chance of rain on Thursday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, welcome back, everyone, on this Wednesday. Alan Stephen with you. Glad you could be with us. And joining us in the studio this morning is the superintendent for Rapides Parish Schools, and that is Jeff Powell. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Doing well.
Lots of graduations going on right now.
Hey, it's been a fun season. Last night was officially the last one.
Oh, really?
I was at committees and board meeting last night, but most of our staff took advantage of being able to go enjoy the ASH graduation, and me and the board had a good time last night going through the committee meetings. But yeah, so 12 graduations in about 2 weeks' time. So is a fun season.
Yeah, I was telling Stephen, I drove past the Coliseum yesterday around, it's like 5:55. It was absolutely packed. Looked like every possible parking spot was occupied, and more cars were still trying to get in.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about, I was there Saturday morning for the Buckeye graduation, and same thing. I mean, there's cars are everywhere, and I think the Coliseum, depending on the seating arrangement, can hold 8,000 to 10,000 people, I think. And when we have our graduations, it's, typically nowhere near full. I'm sure it was more last night at ASH than there was at Buckeye, just because of the number of graduates. But yeah, I don't know, like if we have 8,000 people show up for something at the Coliseum, what do we do? Like, do they just park up and down the highway? Is that what happens? I don't.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
It was packed, like I said. So I know someone's going to ask because they're wondering this. How does the school district work with the Coliseum to pay to have the graduations there?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a sore subject for some folks.
Oh, is it? Okay, sorry.
But it's okay. I mean, we work together. They do discount it significantly, but so many of our schools during, if you'll remember going back to COVID, when we had to social distance so much, several of our schools chose to start having it there. And we were using some of the COVID allocation, the funding that we were given, because that was one of the things that we could do is make accommodations for that kind of stuff. And so we were helping the schools out. We were paying for it. And then we went down to where the school board was paying for half of it. But then after COVID, many of the schools, or not many, I think we do 4 schools now, continue to use them just because of, in today's world, used to you'd get so many tickets, each graduate would get so many tickets based on how many seats you had in the auditorium or how many seats you had at the football field or whatever. And so many people like to just not have to limit their graduates. And so obviously the Coliseum allows for that, but it does cost, a pretty good amount compared to doing it at your own facility. Right. But it's something I think those schools really let the senior class and the senior class parents kind of talk about it and to some degree vote on it. And that's what they decide to do. And then, of course, most of the cost kind of gets pushed down to the seniors in terms of the senior fees that they pay to help offset the cost for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for explaining that. Before we kind of get into some of the topics we want to hit on you with, the amendment number 3 went down in flames Saturday night, and now we're hearing the legislature's trying to figure out, is there a way we can still come up with pay raise? So what are your thoughts just based on how everything happened Saturday?
Yeah, so I really thought you would ask me something about it, Al. Obviously, disappointment for me. I mean, y'all have heard me talk about the situation regarding teacher retirement expenses for local school systems that, has nothing to do with the actual status of current retirement. No employee who's retired out of the teacher retirement system is in any trouble of the retirement system not being able to fund anything. But actually somebody from the governor's office texted me late Saturday night as we were all watching the results come in, and some disappointment that even here in Rapides where people had heard me speak very supportive of it, that we actually performed worse this time, in terms of support of it than we did a year ago.
Right.
And, I just politely asked them to look at the early vote results. And early vote, it looked very optimistic. And y'all watched politics for a long time. Typically, the early vote gives you a pretty good, small sampling of what the ultimate turnout would be.
Yep.
But even statewide, the early vote on Amendment 3, if I recall correctly, was right at 50-50 with a handful more votes in support of. But if you look at what happened in Baton Rouge over the last week and a half prior to the election, with the congressional mapping situation that went down, there were several pieces of communication that came, let me just say, out of Baton Rouge that seemed to be kind of anti-public education in support of the Gator bill. I mean, funding for Gator. There was even a graphic that was put out that was, trying to show the quote unquote results of students that are attending private schools under Gator versus all public schools. I mean, there was a bunch of, for all practical purposes, anti-public school commentary coming out of Baton Rouge, which to me makes zero sense whatsoever. When if you want to talk about individual voting blocks, how people who talk about politics talk about different demographic breakdowns. I mean, your public education employees, typically it's the largest employer in a community. Why would you do anything to turn them, against them, especially in a moment when you're trying to promote things? I'm still somewhat disappointed, I think, Al, mostly because of the lack of knowledge or lack of understanding out there. I saw so many educators voting against it for what they would detail it was just not good information. And look, everybody can vote how they want. I have no qualms with that. And if you're against, something just because you don't like who's presenting it or you don't like, I told one person, look, I can't do anything. If you just don't like the governor and you're voting against that, I don't have anything to say about that. But if you want to talk about the merits of the amendment and what it does, let's talk about that. And then you tell me why that's bad, but there was very little of that. It was more of a block consensus. And it did surprise me that early voting looked promising, but then boy, as the results came in, and particularly in the larger parishes with more kind of urban settings and things like that, it went down fast.
100%. Yeah, I saw even the Advocate yesterday did a story about the large black turnout you had in like Baton Rouge, New Orleans, that they were all energized because of what happened with the congressional maps and just took down all the amendments along with that. So I know I know you had made a post on your personal Facebook just explaining why you were supporting it personally. And as you've talked about on this show, to me, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
When people ask me about it, I would cite to them the reasons why you'd given us, why it was a good idea. What are you going to do?
Yeah. What are we going to do?
Hey, well, people just hate amendments right now.
Right, yeah, you know that. Well, and then to like further come since then, right? The governor comes out and makes a post like the next day.
Yeah.
In light of Amendment 3 failing, no state employee is going to get a raise until teachers get. Well, we have no idea what that means.
Right.
Like, is there another opportunity for teachers to get a raise? I mean, because nobody's communicated with us the systems as of this moment, and I mean, what the legislature's in session for another maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
And so, nobody's communicated with us in any way that shows. And typically we're kind of, the fiscal year ends June 30 for us and July 1 opens the new fiscal year. So, this is typically the time that we're trying to make a lot of, pretty tough budgetary decisions and things like that. But you have like this little dangling carrot out here like, well, but, so.
Next is going to say no LSU football if you don't give teachers a pay raise. So.
We just don't know what lever is going to be pulled to give them a raise. Like, is he going to amend the budget? Is he going to put something in our MFP calculation? Like we haven't heard anything relative to that.
So maybe there didn't have to be an amendment. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, there definitely doesn't have to be an amendment for him to. I mean, he's given the stipends the legislature, all of the above have put the one-time stipends in the budget for the last 2 years, and then so there's always that possibility. But the as many people considered it, the quote unquote threat was that if we didn't pass Amendment 3, there would be nothing. But then all of a sudden, the quote the very next day, well, nobody's got a pay raise until teachers do. So we shall see.
Yeah, we have a call coming in. Let's take that. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, I voted for it. I voted for the Amendment 3, but some teachers were against it because the provision about dissolving the trust funds.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't understand what the trust funds were about. Some of the teachers I talked to were kind of queasy about dissolving the trust funds. Could you explain what the trust funds were about?
Yeah, for sure. So essentially the state has some pockets of money that are protected in the Constitution because of when they were given they put in the Constitution that these funds could only be used for educational programming.
Wasn't some of that tobacco stuff?
Yeah, the EEF, what they call EEF money, the Excellence in Education Fund, that is from when all the tobacco settlement money came into the states. So every district gets a little bit of an allocation from that. And when I say a little bit, I want you to understand, with an operational budget of somewhere around $280 million for Rapides Parish, we get a little over $500,000 from EEF. So, $500,000 to most of us sounds like a lot of money, but in scale of $280 million, not so much. And then the other one's 8G. It's kind of like a block grant, and we primarily use that to supplement some like pre-K programming and things like that. But it's about $250,000 how much we get from that. So again, in the grand scheme of things, of a $280 million budget, it's not that big. And so what every system in the state of Louisiana received from the governor's office, from the Division of Administration, was a breakdown of if Amendment 3 were to have passed, after you give every employee who is eligible for the $22.50 and the $11.25 pay raise, this would be your net standing. Every school system in the state received that calculation. All but I believe it was 11 school systems in the state of Louisiana came out better in the savings. In other words, Rapides Parish's net savings was like $1.1 million. So after giving the raises, we would have netted still another $1.1 million, which would have been more than enough to offset the about $750,000 that we currently receive from EEF and AG. So we would have seen no change in programming. Like if we chose to continue to pay for the things that those things In fact, we would have been up about $260,000. There were about 11 districts in the state where they were not in that situation. Like they were essentially going to lose money. The cost to give the raises versus the savings and losing EEF and AG was a net loss. But we had in writing multiple times. In fact, superintendents had a quote unquote one-on-one Zoom with the governor 2 Fridays ago that we were able to orchestrate. And, he tried to make it very clear, y'all, it would not be politically advantageous for me not to uphold what I'm telling you, that we will make you whole, whether it's through the MFP or through other supplemental funding. So understand that every district will come out good on this. So that was provided to every a superintendent, every business financial manager for the school system. So it was just a weird deal from the strictly looking at the fiscal responsibility piece. It was a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The politics, like I said in my personal post, take politics, take opinions, take everything else out of it. Strictly fiscal responsibility, it was the right thing to do. So I don't know if that explains everything the way the caller wanted it, but that's essentially what it was. There's these constitutionally protected. Now, the third one was more about higher ed. I don't know as much about the third one, but I did hear from some of my higher ed friends that there was going to be some impact there, but I don't know if they were given the same assurances that we were to be made whole through some other funding sources. Gotcha. But it was one of those deals where somebody was asking me Saturday morning. They were texting me trying to get some additional guidance. That from a fiscal responsibility, it was a win-win-win. School systems were going to come out ahead. Employees were going to come out ahead. TRSL was going to come out ahead. Because, it's literally hundreds of millions of dollars each year being spent on interest.
Yes. Yeah.
Not, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway.
Crazy. All right. Well, we'll be right back. More with Jeff Powell coming up.
KSYL. Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply, with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
At Trinity Health Pace Alexandria, we listen first, then bring the right care to you. From medical care and social activities at our center to home care, transportation, and more. We help seniors stay healthy, independent, and connected to what they love. From empathy to expertise, we see all of you. Call 318-206-1020. That's 318-206-1020. Or visit thpace-alexandria.org to learn more about Trinity Health Pace Alexandria.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Now back to Talk Back. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
All right, we're back with Jeff Powell, Superintendent of Rapides Parish Schools. Some other topics we want to get into this morning. Since you were here the last time, the education scorecard came out, and Louisiana just continues to have some amazing results.
Yeah, it's crazy in light of some of the other kind of political stuff and pay raise and all that stuff. Everybody kind of lets that overshadow the fact that Louisiana is killing it in education right now.
Yeah.
And not just right now, for the last probably 3-4 years, we continue to climb up the overall rankings, but more specifically, what was released last week was the education scorecard, which I think is synonymous with what was called the recovery scorecard, because this is basically looking at since COVID, since 2019. How different states and their students are performing in terms of academic achievement, and what this report shows is that Louisiana is the only state, it's the number one state in the country whose students are overachieving, superseding their pre-pandemic achievement levels, and now we're doing it in both ELA and math, and so we're number one in the country in doing that.
I the only state in the country surpassing those pre-pandemic levels in reading and math. That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is amazing, and it's a testament to the hard work of our teachers and students, obviously, and our families buying into it. But Al, I've talked on the show too about some of the hard work that folks like our legislators who have really focused on education, our policymakers, and the funding that has come with it. And y'all heard me say during COVID that we took out the biggest excuse that most public educators have used for generations is that, well, we didn't have the resources. Mm-hmm. Well, we had tons of resources during that little 5-year stretch post COVID or during COVID. And so it allowed us to do a lot of innovative things, and you're seeing the results of that. And then now with the third grade retention laws, but couple that with the policies that require certain levels of intervention for students, and then the funding to do it. We talk about the high-dose tutoring, we talk about differentiated compensation, things like that. So the convergence of law, policy, and funding allows for teachers to be able to do what they're supposed to do, students to get the resources they need, and then hence we have the results that we're getting. And so I think it's a great time to be an educator in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, and speaking of educators, you have a few that are going to be honored this July.
Yeah, it's exciting, and really the last probably 3 or 4 years. I hope people really understand this. You got to put this in perspective. Every year the state has these, for lack of a better word, competitions, right? Where we nominate students of the year, teachers of the year, administrators of the year, all of these different things. And for the last several years, Rapides Parish has always had semifinalists or finalists in these categories, and this year is no exception. Ms. Christy Dugas, who's the principal at Paradise Elementary School, a school that for the last several years has just kind of led the way in terms of academic achievement growth. She is a semifinalist for State Principal of the Year, so we'll be excited to go down there with her at the end of July and enjoy the gala where we'll celebrate them. Also, Ms. Michelle Blaney, who's a teacher at Buckeye High School, is a semifinalist for High School Teacher of the Year. Does phenomenal work. Great personality. Just wonderful lady. Known her for several years. And then also they have it for our early child care centers, and really the last several years. We've had somebody, Matt Johns' wife, Shannon Johns, was one recognized last year. So we were down there with them. But this year is Miss Sarah Corley, who leads the Early Learning Center out at LSUA. I don't even know if everybody knows that LSUA has a child care center out there. But so she'll be recognized as well. So we'll all converge down in New Orleans again at the end of July and celebrate with them as Dream Teachers is the organization that sponsors that along with the Louisiana Department of Education. So it's exciting.
I hear a lot of good things about the LSUA place too.
LSUA is a pretty good place. Yeah.
The child care place. They're good at college and the kids.
They are great.
Hey, we got a couple more calls coming in. Let's take those. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Yeah, this is I was just wondering, why would anybody vote for a tax in Rapides, especially school board, when just a couple of weeks ago y'all said that we were overtaxed and you had surplus money? Well, what do? You give it away, $9,000 to teachers, $4,500 to support personnel, when you could have kept that for a rainy day instead of next time if something breaks or there's a tragedy, something goes wrong, you got to ask for another tax. That was the stupidest thing y'all could have ever done.
Okay, they weren't asking for a tax.
Here, I'll go ahead and address that because it really is interesting to me for anybody to say something is stupid when we're using funds the way that it's supposed to be used for. So if you're really interested to understand, I'm happy to explain it to you, and I'd love for you to reach out to my office so I can show you the entire budget. When you see the board do things like that, it's because those are dedicated dollars. That is the only thing those funds can be used for. We cannot take sales tax funds that are dedicated for salaries and benefits to employees and use that on facilities. That would be a violation of what the taxpayers said. So please be educated on how our budgets work before you cast judgment on how our board or administration use those things. I assure you, everything we do is in the public purview. So before you call it stupid, at least educate yourself on exactly what those funds can be used for. So the supplemental sales tax check that is being given to our employees is because the taxpayers in Central Louisiana, in Rapides Parish, voted in 1967 and 1987 and 2016 for a sales tax for employee benefits, salaries and benefits. That is the only thing those dollars can be used for. So it's not that you were overtaxed. It's not that there was excess money and we were just trying to figure out something to do with it. That is what the funds are for, and that's the only thing it can be used for.
All right. Thanks for the call. Let's take another one. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First off, when it comes to the amendments, I don't know if most people look at it like I do, but I have so much mistrust of what our government does.
Yeah.
Because they do so much stupid stuff.
Sure.
Not just local, but national. So there's no trust of government, none.
Well,
so don't expect things to pass just because they're good. They may be wonderful, but it ain't going to happen, Bubba.
Yeah. Well, and I actually was communicating with a state legislator who had said that there's just such a lack of trust right now. But I mean, that's not your fault. You're doing what you're trying to do for a local district.
Yeah, I actually made this comment to somebody I was speaking to after the election, Al. You know, one of the things that I think lends to this mistrust, I think y'all were talking about it, and somebody called in as I was listening before I walked in, that, you know, politics is a team sport, you know, and I can understand the analogy, but the reality is it does not matter what political party you are in. If you are in a position where you are elected to serve, or you're in any other kind of leadership position, one huge part of leadership is uniting people around common causes for the good of whatever, whether it's state government, whether it's local school system, whatever it is. And so if we don't see ourselves as those who unify people around common causes and focus more on the things that separate us, then it's going to be virtually impossible in this politically, you know, dynamic environment that we live in right now to even get the good thing. It doesn't matter how good. I mean, there were more than one of the amendments that I was in support of, but it doesn't matter how good any of it is. Some of the legislators and some of the folks down in Baton Rouge are saying, look, everybody keeps saying, well, we need to be more like Texas from the business perspective, or we need to be more like Florida. But then they're trying to, you know, get amendments and things done that make us more like those. But because we're so politically divided right now, it's hard to get anything done. And like, I can understand that. But if I were in some of those positions, how much more that would speak to me about, hey, I need to be out front trying to unify people around these causes as to why we need to do this and how we do this, and then try to rally the folks around it. And then you still have the other political, I mean, how do you offset the fact that the congressional mapping thing came out right as you were trying, you know, so it's such a multi-layered dynamic that you're trying to figure these things out. I don't disagree with the caller. Yeah. There's a lot of distrust. I just hope that distrust at the national or state level, you know, that you can look at some of the local things, particularly what we're doing with the school system, and you can celebrate with our teachers and appreciate the work that they're doing. And when we do, one other thing, I know we've probably got to go, but local school system is a local responsibility. So when you want schools, when you want buildings, when you want things, then you have to remember it's a local responsibility. We don't get outside funding for a school building. You know, that's a local thing. And, you know, if you want a local school, then you got to pay for a local school. If you don't, then you deal with it after that.
All right. Last day of school is Thursday. That's crazy.
That's it.
All right, Jeff Powell, thank you so much for your time and appreciate your candor on this as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you all, guys.
Thanks.
KSYL. Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy food, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Finding the right catering service with the right menu can be overwhelming. When it comes to catering, you should always serve Louisiana's best, Cole's Barbecue and Steakhouse. Cole's Barbecue and Steakhouse has all chef-prepared and freshly served food for you and your guests. Let it be special. Let Cole's cater your next event or family gathering. Call 613-8800 or visit colesbbq.com for their catering menu.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
A Republican Trump critic in Congress primaried out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Thomas Massie loses to the GOP challenger the president backed in Kentucky in the most expensive House primary race ever.
He stood against us, but he liked to just single out President Trump. All that to say, it's a new day. These people deserve better, and I'm going to give it to them.
Ed Galbraith beat Massie by almost 10 points.
Massie's loss is yet another warning for Trump critics. The congressman had broken with the president on several issues, including the Epstein files and the Middle East. Yet Massie says he has no regrets.
We weren't running against Donald Trump. We were running for what we believe in.
Another Trump-backed candidate, Congressman Andy Barr, clinched the GOP nomination for Senate in Kentucky. He is seen as the heavy favorite to replace outgoing Senator Mitch McConnell.
Fox's Madeline Rivera and Georgia GOP Congressman Mike Collins and Derek Dooley advanced to a runoff in the campaign to unseat Democratic Senator John Ossoff. The president has not backed either Republican. Now, he claims candidates he supported yesterday in primaries in 6 states were undefeated, 37-0. A new AP NORC poll shows the president picking up a little more support, approval of the overall job he's doing up from 33 to 37%, but most Americans still disapprove, and 2/3 oppose his handling of the Iran conflict. And as talks continue on a nuclear deal after the president delayed resuming bombing Iran, Vice President Vance says
there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of good progress is being made, but we're just going to keep on working at it, and eventually we'll either hit a deal or we won't.
As Iran's Revolutionary Guard warns against renewed U.S.-Israeli attacks.
The IRGC said in a statement, quote, if the aggression against Iran is repeated, the regional war that was promised will this time go beyond the borders of the region, and you will be dealt crushing blows in places you do not expect, and you will fall into the abyss of defeat and destruction.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. America's listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
They have mutual respect and a strategic cooperation. That's what the leaders of China and Russia say. Meeting in Beijing, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin signing agreements on trade and technology. And while they didn't mention the U.S., Xi was critical of what he called unilateral bullying days after President Trump's trip to Beijing, where China's leader warned of a potential conflict over Taiwan.
Taiwan and the United States don't have formal diplomatic relations, but if they did, Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te would ask President Trump to send more arms. President Lai telling reporters if he could speak to President Trump, he'd tell him that China was a destroyer of peace and only ongoing U.S. support could safeguard his island. China sees Taiwan as its own and doesn't rule out reunification by force. Last week, Chinese leader Xi Jinping told President Trump the Taiwan question was the most important issue between the U.S. and China. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Sources are telling Fox Digital that Cuba's ex-leader, Raul Castro, could be indicted in the U.S. today.
The DOJ did not confirm any legal action, saying it would not comment on rumors. But it did announce a news conference in Miami to honor victims of a 1996 incident where planes carrying Cuban refugees were shot down. 4 people were killed.
That's Fox's Gernal Scott. On Wall Street, stock futures are rising more than 100 points for the Dow, more than 200 for the NASDAQ the day after a sell-off for both. In the NBA, the biggest fourth quarter comeback in Knicks playoff history. Down by 22 points with less than 8 minutes left. New York rallied to force overtime and then beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 115-104 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Jalen Brunson led the way, scoring 38 points for the Knicks on ESPN.
I'm just happy we found a way to win. We kept believing in each other, taking in shots, kept running. My teammates got belief in me, my coaches. It's all credit to them.
Game 2 is tomorrow. Tonight, the West Finals resume. San Antonio won the opener, beating Oklahoma City in double overtime. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm John Burns. An effort to recall Governor Jeff Landry seems to be picking up some steam after the governor halted the U.S. House election to redraw the map following the U.S. Supreme Court ruling. Desiree Morrison is one of the leaders behind the recall effort, who says the word is rapidly spreading throughout the state.
People are calling every day to let us know that they have organizations in some of the small parishes and that they are willing to volunteer and help us out to be successful in what we're doing.
In order to succeed, organizers would need just over 500,000 valid signatures by October 31st. That would be to get the issue before voters. It's something Louisiana Republican Party Executive Director Corey Dennis says won't happen.
I just think this liberal outreach recall petition is doomed to fail, but an opportunity for us as a party to highlight what good conservative leadership can accomplish.
Louisiana Radio Network. Now that his days in Washington are numbered, the proverbial shackles are off of Bill Cassidy. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
No longer with the political future hinging on his ability to please President Trump, Senator Bill Cassidy seems to have found his voice to criticize things he doesn't like, things like $1 billion for a ballroom at the White House.
Louisianians don't want to spend $1 billion on a ballroom. Gas, groceries, healthcare, they just cannot afford it.
Cassidy also slammed the deal Trump reached with the Justice Department, dismissing his lawsuit against the IRS in exchange for establishing a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund.
It's as if somebody sued themselves, agreed upon a settlement with themselves, and that's going to be funded by the rest of us.
I'm Andrew Greenstein.
The Caleb Wilson Hazing Prevention Act is close to final legislative passage. Lafayette Senator Gerald Boudreaux presented the bill with Wilson's parents on hand.
Caleb Wilson was 20 years old, a Southern University student and a member of the Human Jukebox, and he was a son who should still be here today.
LRN.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Good morning. Our Wednesday starting out with cloudy skies, and we'll see thunderstorms developing later in the day. A chance of rain, about a 70% chance. Afternoon highs 81 degrees. Now tonight, rain showers early, and we'll see clearing later in the evening. Overnight lows will get down to 69 degrees. And then we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Again, a 70% chance of rain on Thursday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Talkback here on your Wednesday. Al and Stephen with you. Again, thanks to Superintendent Powell for stopping by. One thing I do appreciate about him, he doesn't dodge or duck any questions. He'll even kind of kid me a little bit. He's like, you kind of hear it on the air, but I knew you were going to ask me that. But I think that in a position like that, you should be willing to answer any tough question. And I appreciate that he does and that he engages with the public, even when they strongly disagree with him. But to his point, if you're going to be critical, though, be educated. It's just like Bill Cassidy and the Louisiana Radio Network story that they just did at the top of the hour. It doesn't really represent it fairly, the ballroom. It's making it sound like Trump wants to spend $1 billion to build this ballroom. That's not how it actually is happening. The ballroom is being built through private donations that Trump has raised. The Senate is the one that put forward as part of a bill up to $1 billion that would go towards security improvements for the White House and other things. So the way it's framed, it looks like Cassidy now all of a sudden is like, oh, I'm going to champion this. It's like, yeah, but when you were running, you were all, President Trump supported me on this and I'm with him on this. And it's so disingenuous now that, for me, like, I would respect Cassidy if he would just be like, you know what, I lost. It was the will of the people. I'm just going to do whatever we have to do to make a smooth transition and continue to serve the people of Louisiana. But now you're setting yourself up to be a Trump opponent when there's no political capital for you to lose. I mean, it just doesn't sit well with me. I think it's a classless move, just to be really honest.
Well, the main rub I have on that is, you vote to convict the guy, and if you really believe that was the case, then you have a strong conviction that he should be convicted and should not be president of the United States.
Right.
So you can't just jump back on the bandwagon for your own political gain.
Yep.
Because he knows that going against him is politically detrimental in Louisiana. So that was kind of what got me at the beginning, is you just got to stick to your guns, man. You don't think you should be president? That's fine.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person for that, but just stick to it. Going back to, we had the call about we don't trust government, and that's why these amendments fail. I completely understand. But at what point does that stop, where we're not being detrimentally cynical all the time?
Right.
Because there's got to be a point where, okay, we elected these people to fix something, to get something done. So if there's a good idea, how else are you going to pass it if they don't pass it by the ways you're supposed to? So it's like, what point do we get past that? I understand. It's a tough one.
No, because like we chronicled on Saturday, with some of the fire districts having their millage taxes go down, we're not able to buy new equipment. We're not able to really have the service that this particular area of the parish needs to guarantee that if, God forbid, your house catches on fire, we can get there on time and we can do what we can to mitigate the damage, etc. In the long run, that could hurt the fire rate.
Yeah, and that's the big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
But people don't really understand that. And I get it, because they see so much waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, just look at the stories right now coming out about Medicare abuse in even states like Maine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I really do wonder. We had tremendous Medicare expansion under John Bel Edwards. I'd love to know if all of that is legitimate spending, or if Louisiana has a lot of this going on too. Maybe J.D. Vance's group will target Louisiana eventually, but it is distressing.
Medicaid.
That's what I say, Medicare?
Mm-hmm.
Medicaid, I meant, yes. Thanks for the correction. So, but no, I get it. I hate taxes too. I just made the joke the other day about it's 10 years now that the temporary sales tax was put in place. Boy.
And I get it too, because we're funding a lot of these things with property taxes.
Yeah.
Specifically these millages, and a lot of people are voting on something that they may not even have to pay.
Mhm.
You know,
That's
I don't
right.
own a house right now, but I would vote yes, even knowing I'm hopefully going to be owning a house soon. You
Mhm.
know, but
Mhm.
just because in the long run it could financially cost you more if the
Yeah.
fire rating goes down,
Right.
and that's an if. But you really, I feel bad for the firefighters there, for that department. Great people, and they need the upgrades. Like it's pretty bad.
Right.
However, you have to understand that a lot of people are figuring out how to put gas in their car
100%.
at the end of every month.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's only a couple dollars more a month, but that's a couple $100 a year, and that could make a big difference for somebody.
Sure.
Or that's the way they're looking at it, and you add this, and then you add that, and prices keep going up. It's difficult. So
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Louisiana, we've been holding in the mid threes, 350, 360 a gallon, and I noticed yesterday everything's up to about 397 now. So I
a
feel
lot
like,
of what I've been seeing is in the fours.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
once it goes over 4, I feel like just even from a psychological standpoint, you know, when you're filling up your gas tank and you're putting 15 gallons in, and all of a sudden you look and it's $60, whereas it used to be more like 40.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's only $20, but you're doing that once or twice a week in some cases. It does. It adds up. And then the impact that has, especially with diesel prices, the cost increase for companies to ship their products. You go to the grocery store, stuff is up. I mean, it's just, we lost the handle on it during COVID. I feel like Trump brought it back a little bit, but now with what's going on because of the war in Iran, which the oil that flows through the strait isn't even really the oil that we benefit from, but it's created this global market demand that even though we're producing a lot here, it's still making our prices go up too. And people are just getting tired of it all.
Well, from what the president says, he believes personally it's a necessary pain.
Yeah.
Right. But he also doesn't know what it feels like to live on a weekly budget. So,
no.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, I appreciate the superintendent's candor, and he's right. But even though I think he's right, it's not going to change the way a lot of people feel right now. And you cannot underestimate, and he brought it up too, the impact of the voting district issue and what they did at the legislature with all of that, that it really energized a lot of Democrats and Black Democrats specifically in the state to get out and vote and just vote against everything. That was a huge impact.
I maybe so, and I'm not quite familiar with what happened in Baton Rouge, but I just feel like that's the sentiment for a lot of voting blocks across Louisiana.
Yeah.
And all of them failing was the least shocking thing on election night for me.
Right.
We all assumed that probably would happen.
Yeah.
And people want to use it to their political advantage, saying, oh, it's because people don't like the governor, or, oh, people don't like government. You know, I don't know if it's really directly tied to the governor for the majority of Louisianans, but that's something we'll have to see. And honestly, there's a lot of criticisms on Jeff Landry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to be careful on how I say this, but I feel like Louisiana is better than it was 4 years ago. Like, I feel like it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's things on his leadership style people may not like, and maybe there's some of the way he handles himself. And I think some of the way he comes off is my way or the highway is a little bit stilted. It looks,
and not
it's like copying some other politicians, you know.
Yeah, and not just it's my way or the highway. It's some of the retribution that happens if you don't go along and support.
Well, we said it in the White House too, and his supporters love that.
Yeah.
So I think he's just playing that same game. You know, I'm not being critical. That's just the way it goes up there. So.
Right. So anyway, our phone number 318-442-8255. If you have any thoughts on all of that, we have a few more things we'll be getting to throughout the morning, and we always appreciate you being with us. So we'll take a break. Coming right back.
KSYL, Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply, with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
For generations, taxis called black cabs have been a symbol of London. They've been famous not only for their spacious back seats, easy to get into, suitable for 4 people, but also for their knowledgeable drivers. But they're fast disappearing. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your RM World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. First, drivers must pass a test called the Knowledge. Drivers must study 3 to 4 years to memorize 25,000 streets and more than 20,000 landmarks within a 6-mile radius of Charing Cross in downtown London. But now there's Uber, an invasion that black cab drivers fought unsuccessfully. And Lyft just bought Gett, G-E-T-T. That's London's rideshare app for black cabs. In 2014, there were nearly 23,000 black cabs. 10 years later, 15,000. A recent study predicted no more black cabs in 20 years. I think that's optimistic. Just as electric robo-taxis are proliferating in the U.S., London will experience the same explosion. Take that Instagram picture by a black cab while you still can, or travel info at rmworldtravel.com.
You smell that? Spring. Hibernation's over. It's time to run it. Run it until the grass becomes long and the hedges duck and cover. Then run it again. Still, get up to $50 off select AK battery tool sets. Offer valid for limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, we are back here on Talkback here on your Wednesday morning. Had to think about it because my week got thrown off a little bit from yesterday.
You've been working your double time.
Yeah, I have been, but it's been good. Let's see. I had a clip and I had it queued up, I thought, and then I just lost it. Hate when that happens. Trying to recover here on the fly. Oh, here it is. All right, so Governor Landry, even as the legislature is in its final couple of weeks, is actually over in Greenland right now. He is there, as you know, he is President Trump's special envoy to Greenland, a place that Donald Trump has suggested that the U.S. take over. Greenlanders have been mixed on that, to say the least. So Landry was talking with reporters in Greenland yesterday, and here is how some of that went down.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you something. When's the last time that any high-level diplomats came to Greenland, whether it's from Europe or not, before Donald Trump?
But that's more about you.
No. That's not, no. That's a question that Greenlanders should ask themselves. And who cares more about Greenlanders than the Trump administration and the president? Because seemingly before the president, no one cared.
But why don't you come with relations rather than just come without an invitation?
Governor,
you came without an invitation.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. If you showed up in Louisiana, am I going to throw you out because you weren't invited?
I'm not
no. This place was open. This conference is open to the public. And so why wouldn't you? The reception's been great.
Really?
Yeah, it has.
How'd the meeting go with the Prime Minister yesterday?
I thought it went great.
Really?
Yeah? Why, you think it went bad?
No, I'm curious. What did you guys discuss?
We just discussed the opportunities that we had. I flat out asked them, what were the issues with the United States and the relationship between Greenland and the United States before the president? And you know what? You know what the Prime Minister, what I got out of that meeting? Mm-hmm. I got out of the meeting that before Donald Trump, the United States was ignoring Greenland.
All right. So that went well.
Well,
No. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, my goodness.
So he was apparently at a trade fair, taking this from the Advocate, for about half an hour and told reporters before President Trump nobody cared much about Greenland.
Maybe that's the way they want it.
Maybe so. Yeah. He said he flat out asked Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen during their meeting Monday about issues the nation has with the U.S. He says, I got out of the meeting before Donald Trump. The United States was ignoring Greenland. That's what he told reporters.
Well, a couple of things. If I was Greenland and I had to pick between, at least militarily, Denmark and the United States of America, I think I'd feel more comfortable with the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were offered money if this does happen, each citizen, correct?
Yeah.
So it could be a sweet deal. I understand just kind of barging in and like, hey, we're going to take this place, whether you like it or not. That's not obviously what they're doing. They're trying to do it diplomatically. Another thing is, I kind of get the sentiment, though, maybe I don't want you to pay attention to me. That's kind of like the conservative way. I wish the government wouldn't really care about me and my problems half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave me alone. And make sure you pave the roads and we'll be good to go. So, yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean, from what I'm seeing, and of course, it's the media, so you can always take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of the trip is kind of being panned right now for some awkward moments. Like there's a moment where he's talking to like a 10-year-old kid and ask him if he wanted to take a picture with him. And the kid says no. And then there was another moment where apparently he told the kids that if they should come and visit, told school kids they should come visit Louisiana for the Governor's Match for all the chocolate chip cookies that they can eat.
All the chocolate chip. I think beignets would have been a better thing for sure. I don't know anything about Greenland. Those are like 50,000 people. It's like a country the size of Alexandria.
Let me see. Population of Greenland. Yep, 56 to 57,000 people. 56, 57.
6, 7, give or take.
Yeah.
Depends on how cold it is and how much people are getting out, I guess.
Was it Greenland or Iceland that Walter Mitty went to in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
I thought it was Iceland. Greenland's the icy one and Iceland's the green one.
I just remember the scenery in that movie was breathtaking.
They're both pretty, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of confusing on what has to happen for that to be property of the United States or how diplomatically it could happen. But the governor has been tasked with doing it, and he's already fighting with the press over there.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like it was a news organization from Greenland.
Yeah.
With the accent.
Right. Yeah, it was like kind of like a little gaggle of reporters that were following him around.
From what I've seen, I think the majority are not happy about this whole situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think America cares.
I mean, 56,000 people, if you gave them all like 50 grand, how much money would that be?
I thought it was more than 50 grand.
How much were they offering?
I don't have to see. We're not the greatest, most informed show in America for nothing, everybody.
But overall, it seems like his visit's getting really panned. Just even look at some of the headlines. New York Times: Trump special envoy to Greenland receives cold welcome from locals. Axios: Jeff Landry's Greenland trip gets awkward fast.
10 grand to 100 grand.
100 grand, I'd think about it.
100 grand,
like, what do you want?
No doubt.
Sign. Can I get a U.S. flag?
Exactly.
Do
Go ahead,
like sometimes when I'm listening, I'll like bite my nails. And I was watching a clip from the show with Matt on yesterday, and I'm like, there I am, like just biting on my nails, and I'm like, okay, probably need to break your habit of doing that.
That's probably what you do during Brewers games all day. Like, oh my God.
Speaking of that, I'll play a little clip for you when we get back, but we got to take a break.
KSYL.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks are pointing to a higher open today on Wall Street as traders await earnings from NVIDIA. The company set to report today after closing and give a much anticipated update on the state of the AI economy, with sales estimated to have grown 80%. A global supply crunch has U.S. refineries producing jet fuel at a record pace, and right now they're leaning away from gasoline. Experts say that could cause a production clash as we head into peak summer travel season. Target's turnaround got a big lift after posting its best comparable sales growth in 4 years and boosting its outlook. The retailer's been struggling to revive growth after a pandemic-fueled boom and boycotts after it got rid of its DEI policies. And Saudi Arabia is pulling support for Live Golf now amid widening budget deficits and economic pressure from the war in Iran. It started laying the groundwork for potential bankruptcy if it fails to raise new funds. The Golf League has cost an estimated $5 billion over 4 years. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
Remember when eating corn right off the cob was one of your favorite summertime treats? Or how about taking a big bite out of a crisp, fresh apple? If it's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities, chances are your teeth are no longer up for the task. But now there's great news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville are Cenla's dental implant experts. They're both highly trained and experienced in the procedure. Now with thousands of completely satisfied, delighted patients. They make dental implant surgery simple by using today's most current technologies. Along with in-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist, you'll be in and out before you know it, without all the anxiety. Plus, at Today's Dental, their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Go back to crunching all your favorite foods. Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 448-4540.
The following is sponsored by Bid My Listing.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help you sell your home fast and for top dollar? Go to ready.com, REDY.com. Because on Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address, and when you want to sell. In just 48 hours, the best local agents are competing on Ready to be your agent with cash offers up front just to win your business. Hey, your listing is valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn it. Get paid to pick your real estate agent. Go to ready.com or call 888-270-REDY. 888-270-READY.
Good morning. Our Wednesday starting out with cloudy skies, and we'll see thunderstorms developing later in the day. A chance of rain, about a 70% chance. Afternoon highs 81 degrees. Now tonight, rain showers early, and we'll see clearing later in the evening. Overnight lows will get down to 69 degrees. And then we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Again, a 70% chance of rain on Thursday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, welcome back, everyone, on Talk Back. Stephen and Al with you. And glad you guys could be with us today on this Wednesday. We've just been kind of freestyling it a little bit here this morning, and we are willing to take calls. 318-442-8255. You were asking
willing and able.
You were asking me if I was chewing my nails as a Brewers fan. Well, not the last two nights. Brewers have been kicking butt against the Cubs.
Nice.
The Brewers came into the week a game and a half behind the Cubs in the NL Central. Like 2 weeks ago, the Brewers were in last place and the Cubs were like well in first place. And all of a sudden, the Brewers have won the first two games and they're in first place. Last night, hanging on to get a 5-2 win. Jacob Mizorowski, the great phenom young pitcher for the Brewers, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Even though the Cubs had messed with the mound and his foot kept slipping when he was pitching. Weird things happen when the Brewers play at Wrigley. That's all I'm going to say. But
you were talking about taking some money to change states or country or whatever, how much would it take for you to put on a Cubs hat and wear it for a week and post pictures of it?
There is no level of money.
You could retire right now, Al.
I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But speaking of money and how that all plays into things, I don't know how much of our audience knows what's kind of going on right now with college basketball and specifically the LSU Tigers. So LSU brought back Will Wade as their head coach this year. Wade, who had been at LSU, and I think, I guess he was fired for some sketchy things that were going on, which after college basketball changed the rules, turns out would have been legal under the current rules. So now he went to McNeese, then he went to North Carolina State, stayed a year, and then kind of did a Lane Kiffin and came back to LSU. So through the transfer portal, here's what he's doing. Here are the players that Will Wade is bringing in for LSU basketball. These are players that are now LSU Tigers for next year. A guy named Yam Madar, who's 25. RJ Lewis, who's 23. Bryce Desert, 23. Marcio Santos, 23. Mo Diabate, 22. Austin Nunez, 23. Abdi Bashir, 22. And Divine Ogawachuku, 20. And other than Bashir and Oga Chukwuku, all of these other guys are basically coming from the Euro League or even the G League in the case of RJ Lewis. Point is that they've been playing essentially professionally. So it's like he's assembling this mercenary squad of basketball players because of the way the NCAA rules are now. And people are mad. They're like, he's making a mockery of the sport. It's like, well, is he, or is he just taking advantage of the rules that the NCAA has put in place that are making a mockery of the sport?
It's the Expendables.
But it is. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. And like in the case of the one dude, Yam Madar, who I mentioned is 25 years old. He was a former rising star in the Euro League. And the deal he gets with the Tigers is for $5 million a season. Play basketball at LSU.
Yeah, wow.
Like, what is happening here? And he'll be 26 years old in December.
Like Brandon Whedon.
Like, what is happening in college basketball where, you take the local kid from Asher Peabody that goes to LSU and everyone's excited. It's like now we're just, I don't know.
It's professional basketball.
It is. It's become, that's what they have done. That's what effectively the NCAA has done to football and basketball for sure. It's making it not even semi-pro. It's just like a lower level pro sport. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then in the case of RJ Lewis, he was actually the Big East Player of the Year in 2025. And he'd been playing in the G League. He signed a contract last year with, I think it was the Celtics, and then he got traded, or maybe it was another team, and then he got traded to the Celtics. But the G League is basically like the developmental league for the NBA. So I don't know how you can be in the G League playing essentially pro basketball, but then you can still come and play in college basketball.
He's getting ready to...
And I can't wait to see all the academic accomplishments that these guys will have in their careers.
You never know. You never know. They can do it,
I mean, as opposed to like a guy like Shaq who came through in the early 90s. And, everyone kind of knew once he was eligible for the NBA, he was going. He did. I think he was only at LSU 2 years. And then once the NBA had a tremendous contract. But guess what? Shaq went back and got his degree. And then, this last week, he got his master's degree. So he was there at the graduation ceremony, got to walk across the stage. And this is hilarious. He had them announce his name as Shaquille, I hate Charles Barkley O'Neal.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I died laughing.
He's funny.
There's some fuddy-duddy professors like, oh, this is a mockery of education.
Yeah, of course. It's a solemn occasion. Please hold your applause till the very end.
Yeah. No, that was pretty funny.
All right, we got some calls coming in, but I got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
KSYL.
Problems. Everybody hates them, but everybody's got them. And now that it's getting hot again, you need to know about Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Got a cooling problem? Call Southern Air. Plumbing or drain problem? It's Southern Air again. Your power's out and you need a generator? Guess who? And keep those problems away all summer long with a system tune-up. Keep your family comfortable. Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling now at 318-777-5555 or visit us online at southernairnow.com.
Hey, y'all. Spring Festival's coming to a close with these upcoming events. May 21st through May 23rd, Beauregard Watermelon Festival in DeRidder. May 21st through May 24th, Jambalaya Festival in Gonzales. May 22nd through May 24th, New Orleans Greek Festival and Mudbug Madness in Shreveport. Visit festivals.explorelouisiana.com and make your plans to laissez le bon temps rouler.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, let's go to the phones on the BOM Bank Talk line. Thanks for waiting. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, you're talking about basketball players and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
In another life, I had an academic appointment in central Finland. And the Finnish word for Finland is Suomi.
The Finnish word for what?
For Finland.
Oh, okay.
They call them, their official name is Suomi, Suomi.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'm walking into Kroger in Alexandria a few years ago. There was a black fellow who was, I don't recall what he was selling. It might have been something like insurance policies or something like that. Really tall, athletic-looking guy. And he sees me walk in, and the big grin goes on his face. Aha! Suomi. He had played European basketball in Finland.
Wow.
So I just thought that was kind of an interesting aside to walk into a grocery store in central Louisiana and find a former Finnish basketball player.
Huh. Was he from the U.S. who played in Finland, or was he actually from Finland?
Apparently he had been at Grambling.
Oh, okay. All right. Was he a local guy?
But, I really didn't find out if he was a Louisiana guy or not, but I'd kind of guess if he went to Grambling, he was probably from the region.
That could be. Yeah, I mean, you get that quite frequently where you have basketball players that maybe do well, but aren't, at the level of playing in the NBA. And there are a lot of like European leagues. There's leagues in China, Japan, really all over the world where people can go and play. Like the current LSU president, he had played, I think his school he played was Washington and Lee, but he ended up playing in Europe for a little while, and then I want to say maybe in South America. So he gave it a go. One of the most interesting people I ever met, do you guys remember Dr. John Naponic? He was the former health administrator over at the Office of Public Health on Coliseum. He was a predecessor of Dr. Holcomb. But he actually played college basketball in Virginia. No, I'm sorry, he played college football, I think, in Virginia. And then he got drafted in the Canadian Football League, played for like a year, and then he used the money to go to medical school and became like a health doctor. He was one of the most fascinating dudes I've ever met. He was like 6'9", and did a lot of his research work, I think in Cambodia, maybe. And I'm like picturing this huge American 6'9" guy walking around in a place like Cambodia. I'm sure he drew plenty of attention.
Well, he couldn't hide in the crowd.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. But really one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Just fascinating guy. So, all right. Thanks for the call. We need to take another one. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. Is it me?
Yes, sir. It is you.
Good morning. Want to thank the excellent reporting and general greatness there in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I caught something this morning from our stunningly brilliant superintendent of Refuge Parish Schools, who doesn't get near enough credit, to be perfectly honest.
I agree.
And pretty much everybody, I think pretty much everybody but the teachers and the school board like it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But I was struck by the, how he very clearly and very patiently, without taking any sides or casting any aspersions or blame, explained, what the actual vote on Amendment 3 was going to do, what effect it was going to have. And so I said, since, some people might, invite me back for another analytical assignment on election, I thought I'd do some post-election analysis.
Absolutely. And by the way, folks, Dr. Jim Rogers, who is on the show with us on Saturday, I'm always glad to have you call in.
I try not to call in too much because I enjoyed listening. I got to admit, I think listening is far more interesting, especially not listening to me. Anyway, I did some research, and it looks like not only statewide, but in selected parishes that I checked, we still don't have the overall turnout, by the way, the turnout percentage for those parishes, which doesn't really surprise me. When we were told it might take 2 weeks, I figured 2 weeks. Anyways, I did some searching, and in every parish that I checked, as well as statewide, all of the amendments were voted down by significant numbers. They weren't even close. And the closest of the ones that were voted down was Amendment 3. All the others were far and away. Even in West Baton Rouge Parish, where they had that big vote about St. George. And so turnout was way up for that. But it wasn't, it was still overwhelmingly negative and not above the interest in Amendment 3.
Right.
And so, I wish the governor had not, I wish he had not taken the position in Greenland, and I wish he had not left, because I think the governor would do a lot better instead of criticizing, to help people understand that informing the superintendents of the parish schools was a great idea. Why couldn't the rest of us have heard all that before Jeff Powell?
Yeah. Well, if you listen to Talkback, I want to say the last time we had Jeff on a month ago, we did talk about it, and he did make the same argument or same explanation as to why he was supporting it. So I feel like he did his part. He even, kind of, I don't want to call it risky, but he did put on his personal Facebook page why he was supporting it, and he explained it all as well. And he took a lot of heat from people on that. So
I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Although why, I have no idea.
I mean, sometimes,
just trying to say,
when
as the superintendent, you got to be responsible for the money.
Yep.
And this is going to be good. This is going to be good for our parish schools.
Right.
I mean, that's what he's saying. That's not wrong.
Right.
Where's the governor?
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
I mean, I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm not interested in fault.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a total waste of time. I want people to understand that if you want to have a voter turnout, you've got to share that information better. And receiving 10 cards from different, I don't know if they were different organizations, saying, vote yes on 3 and 4. That's not it.
Right. Well, I mean, there were ads that I heard that were airing on this station and others So I think they tried to get the message out, but I think just people weren't in any kind of mood to listen at all.
Well, and that's part of what it means to be a good citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we have really failed to help people understand that being a citizen is not a passive thing.
Right.
Like you belong to something or you carry some kind of identification.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a citizen means you have to be involved.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you can't be involved in everything.
Right.
That's impossible. But really.
But make some attempt to pay attention.
That's right. If you're going to vote. Now,
Right.
you're not going to vote.
Right. Right.
Or if you're going to vote for other things because you pay more attention to them, that's fine. By the way, not voting for something, but voting for other things on the ballot has a name. It's called plumping.
Plumping?
Plumping.
Oh, I thought that's what I do at night when I just sit on the couch eating too much.
Yeah, well, it's almost the same thing. It's plumping means it's a great word, great 19th century word.
Huh.
It means, you're going to support something or vote against something, but for the rest, you don't really feel like you put in,
right?
For it. You've really said so. A good example of that this time was the no party people.
Right.
Of which I'm one. And I might as well. I don't need to hide that.
Yeah.
You could have voted in the Republican primary. You could have voted in the Democrat primary, or you could have plumped by saying, "No, I'm a no party person, and since there's no party people running, I'm not voting."
Yeah. Yeah. Other than you could still vote on the amendments in the taxes. So
exactly.
Yep.
And so that's a plump.
They were saying all we want is the party people in the House.
Yeah. And so, which I think is really the wrong direction. I think we need to get rid of party elections. I'm not saying we need to get rid of parties because I think people ought to be able to express their political views, and that's kind of what parties.
You're in luck. We have a deal for you in November for the congressional races. It'll be the jungle primary.
Yeah. And so if I decide to plump there too, I feel like a genuine plump.
As long as you plump with us on election night on June 27th.
I will absolutely be there as long as you decide to put up with me. And it's been truly a pleasure. And Nathan all three of you guys do such a great job. Maybe I'm embarrassed to say that I can't possibly live up to.
Oh no, you added a lot. We appreciate it. Hey, listen, I got to let you go because I got to take a break.
Yep.
But thank you so much for calling in.
Take care.
Thanks, man. We'll be right back.
Blended families, bonus children, and co-parenting can bring amazing experiences, but it can also be overwhelming and complicate your estate plan. How can families navigate the process when entering into this wonderful journey? I'm George Fine with Fine Legal Services. When it comes to your family's questions, our team can make planning for the future seamless and transparent. Call your Alexandria, Louisiana attorneys, George Fine and Jeremy Cedars, at 318-767-2226 to learn more, or visit fine-lawyers.com.
LSBA number LA2316294.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We'll recap LSU Oklahoma from the SEC tournament and more reaction to Will Wade's controversial roster building. 3 to 6, Alexandria's 94.7 ESPN.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, let's take one last call for today. Good morning, you're on Talk Back.
Oh, it's Brad. How you guys doing? Couldn't have a better segue with the James Brown. Hey, I know everyone's glued to the headlines about the wild 6-story underground ballroom that Trump's building. Go look it up. Yesterday's speech was quite an unbelievable thing. But we've got some hard-hitting news that may or may not affect everyone here. But Al, guess what? We knew it was cheap. We knew it was probably going to cause a bathroom disaster the very next day, let alone the next hour. But for generations, it was the unofficial fuel for young adults and late-night shenanigans across the U.S. After 100 years of service, the beer that made Milwaukee famous is pouring its final glass. Yes. officially on May 23rd. Can you believe it?
I know, very sad. You know, Schlitz was a dominant beer brand until like the 1970s when they got a new company president and he decided to go cheap on the ingredients, and the customers recognized it immediately and just they lost their market share and never got it back. It's really a prime example of how one idiot at the top of a great company can screw it up and destroy a brand.
Yeah, I mean, I was never really a drinker, but let's face it: when you when you were out when you were younger and having a good time, you'd drink that warm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If it had to happen, but I just figured I'd give a quick call, and it was a really good show that you guys had. I was listening while I was working, but Wednesday, let's move into the rest of the week and see what happens. Man, have a good one, you two.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. All right. Well, fun show today.
Well, ain't that some Schlitz? Poor Schlitz. Never went to this. Pabst is kind of like Schlitz, huh?
Well, the Pabst Brewery was brewing Schlitz the last few years, but they decided to discontinue it. So, so for the company, it's tough.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.